So, in what ways did the blocks challenge you this semester so far?
River studies?
Or the one before, the civics block?
I guess with river studies it helps challenge being more outdoors and helping with, because I like being in the water a lot, so helping how to take care of it and stuff, something I've never had to.
I mean, is that something? Is that a challenge, or is that something that's?
It's now. I mean, it can be a challenge in the future to challenge. I don't know how to answer.
Oh, challenge you to feel like you want to get something done about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about the civics block, the political science block?
That challenged my brain to think more about a lot of people talk about the process of doing stuff, so now I know how to. I don't know how it challenged me though. But
Did you know any of it before?
No.
The idea of the question is, what was something you kind of had trouble with when we were doing any of the blocks, where you feel like you came up against a wall and you were like, whoa, this is hard?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of all that we did. Maybe more of the not test stuff, but where we had to do it alone. Because I usually like to work in groups because it helps my brain better.
Okay, so working on your own is a challenge. Okay. Yeah. Anything to add to that?
I don't think so.
Okay. What ways did the blocks engage you?
I don't know.
If it helps answer the question, the liking being in the water and kind of feeling driven to do something about the water, that would be kind of an answer to that question.
Or thinking of it maybe even physically, mentally, emotionally, how did the block engage you?
I guess it helped me be more aware of when I don't know. Being in the water helped me learn a lot more. If that's what that means.
How?
Because when I'm doing something more with a group and doing something more entertaining, it helps me remember how to do it later on. So now I know how to take water chemical testing and stuff from being in the environment of the water, I guess.
And just from observation, it seems to me that your engagement the most is when we were doing macroinvertebrates, because y'all didn't know that those little bugs were even there.
I didn't even know that was a thing, no.
And so I feel like the chemical part has taken a little bit more for y'all to get engaged, but y'all finding the bugs and being able to separate them and figure out what they mean for the water.
Yeah. Finding those little guys helped me learn what a tolerant was, how to know if it's sensitive water or cleaner water or dirtier water. So yeah. Doing the macros helps.
So day one we were talking about finding macroinvertebrates and you were like, oh yeah, gross bugs, right? Mm-hmm. Do you still feel that way now that we started playing with them?
No, because I thought they were bigger, but they're not that big. I thought they were more gross than they actually were, and I just never see them before, so.
I've thought of that too. A few days ago I was thinking, gosh, Olivia, I heard that she was scared of bugs before this block, and I haven't even seen that, when we were getting the bugs.
You're right.
The only thing that really scared me was the helgramite, because it was gross.
Yeah.
The helgramite's pretty horrifying, to be fair.
Yeah. What was the depth of investment in your work?
I don't know how to answer.
Do you understand the question?
No.
An easier way to say it, how hard did you try, do you feel?
I could have tried a little harder, but I feel like it was more of like getting my brain to start functioning more. I feel like with the civics block it was more on paper and river studies was more like interactive, so it was a little easier for me to process how to do it.
On the river studies it was?
Yeah. Yeah. But when we would watch the videos in civics and stuff, it would help me like be more there than in my own mindset.
So would you say it's easier to kind of like throw yourself into something when you have that like kinetic something to mess with rather than having a piece of paper to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, when you said you thought that you could have done better, can you give me examples of that?
Maybe just like more focusing on like what we're doing now instead of what we would be doing later.
Staying in the present?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Cool. Did you have any social challenges this semester?
I don't know. No? Maybe?
So social challenges are how well you work with others, how you're getting along with your classmates, how you respond to classmates, how you deal with your emotions.
How you deal with us?
How you deal with us.
All of it.
I feel like with my classmates I could have done a bit better, but
How?
maybe just like less arguing.
Okay.
Or like I don't know how to explain it, but with Bailey I'm just like we've known each other longer and she gets me more than anybody else does, so and I get her more, so like when other people like I could just been more there with other people and not let others feel left out.
Okay.
So to try to be more inclusive instead of exclusive.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a rapport with Bailey, so if you try and build rapport with your other classmates, that'll work too.
Yeah, and then like being in groups, like I don't really hang out with anyone else but Olivia and Bailey, but that's more because like they are the only ones that I've been friends with for a long time.
Right. Well, and there's a thing where you don't have to be friends with all of your classmates. That's not a requirement. Like, not all of the people who work at this school are friends with each other.
Yeah.
We all work together, and we all like each other well enough, but like we're not all gonna go like hang out after school, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's gonna be a different way that you and Olivia or you and Bailey interact versus like you and Logan.
Yeah.
You know? And that's okay. Is there anything we can do to help with any of that?
Maybe just pair me with other people I don't talk as much to, so I can get to know them a bit better.
That's so interesting that you said that, because I was thinking as you were talking about your relationship, your closeness with those in this river block, almost every time I split up, you guys, you're like, can I be with Bailey? Can I be with Bailey? And so I purposely have tried not to do that.
Yeah.
Just to challenge you a bit, to extend your wings.
Yeah.
And has it helped? I mean, because we purposely tried to not pair you with Bailey, like that was intentional.
The only thing that helps me when I'm more with Bailey is because she like understands. We both understand how each other's brain works.
Right.
So like, she like I would give her the time to process, and she'd give me the time to process. But with anyone else, it's just more embarrassing. Like when we're reading or whatever, how my brain doesn't function as well. So I'm just kind of like a little slow.
So you feel more comfortable with her understanding your...
But yeah.
I had a thought on that though. What was it? Do you have something?
Yeah, that'll turn into a crutch if you let it.
Yeah.
Because it's so comfortable to be there and so uncomfortable to be with anybody else, you'll end up crutching on that, which will hinder your growth. It's, like we were talking about downstairs, it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to feel kind of like, the whole time.
I like working with others, though. I like trying to make new relationships with other people?
I know what my question was. So kind of Heather saying it could be a crutch. I guess my question is, because I know that y'all are close, and sometimes I notice as your teacher that the focus could be better because you guys do have such a close relationship, that maybe you're processing more of like personal things than trying to focus on the task at hand. So as far as working well with her with your focus on studies or an assignment, do you feel that that works well, or does it get diverted onto more personal processing things?
It sometimes is like not as, like, it depends on kind of the emotion we're feeling. Like yesterday, like we could feel each other's like sadness and anger or whatever yesterday, so we were both just kind of feeling that together, and it was, we can feel each other, so it's hard to like focus on one thing when like when there's something to do in front of us, when we both like have that blocked off, because we can each feel each other's and feel ourselves. Like,
yeah, you'll share pretty intense empathy with each other. Hence the exercise this morning.
yeah.
So it's a way to navigate that. Write it down. Maybe both of you write it down on paper together and talk about it and get it out of your system, because it's better, in my opinion, it's better for you two to go off, get the problem solved if it takes you 30 minutes, and then come back and be engaged the rest of the day, than only get little pieces here and there, like when you can't, you know what I mean? Because you're going to have to deal with it, so you may as well just take the time to deal with it. And I know that if you come up to me and you're like, hey, Bailey and I need like half an hour to just like to deal with some stuff, and I'd be like, cool, go to like this room or something, talk it out, figure out what's going on, and then come back. And I will gladly allot time for that, so that yesterday doesn't happen again.
Yeah,
you know?
because we didn't want to be a distraction yesterday, but it was really hard to keep ourselves calm, because like we were together all weekend, and then when like the things happened the weekend, or like we were very anxious yesterday, it was just kind of like all that comes when like we see other people that have involved with that, or like yesterday we were just in a very unhealthy mental state.
So you know, and so you got to be able to process that. So let's find a way then that, because it'll happen again. It's just life.
Yeah.
When it happens, be open about it and communicate about it. And when able, we'll carve out the time to let you do it. Sometimes it's just like you put it aside and you can deal with it later because we got to get this thing done, you know. But most of the time we could be like, hey, you know, take break or something and go like figure it out. So when others are talking, do you feel you're listening and engaged?
Yeah, sometimes it's just like usually when I feel like I pay more attention when the teacher's talking than when a student's talking, just because like I don't like, I think of them more as like a friend than like a like educator, I guess. So
That's fair.
it's harder to pay attention, but if it's a more important matter, then yes I do. But like it depends on the topic, I suppose. So like river studies, if someone's talking, and it depends. It just depends on like what it's about, I guess, or who it is.
That's understandable. I think Bill Nye I don't remember the exact quote, but he said something to the effect of, everyone's got something that you don't know, and so if you listen, you can learn. I learn stuff from y'all all the time.
Me too.
Like, maybe I teach y'all stuff, I don't know, but y'all teach us stuff all the time. Because if you're paying attention and you're listening to what people say, even if they say like crazy stuff, Logan's got a lot of wisdom inside of all that crazy stuff he said. You know what I mean? And so if you pay attention and you listen and give it the focus, you'd be amazed how much you'll glean off of it.
And I have that experience as well. It's like sometimes if I'm, because like Heather said, we all struggle in our own ways, but if I'm willing and open-minded to listen, because that's a skill that I really need to practice more, You know, I mean, I told you I don't really like talking. I'm not a big talker, but when I teach, I have to talk. And one skill that I can get better at is listening. But when I do that, like, I may hear something that I really needed to hear. And had I not been listening, I wouldn't have gotten that, like, message that helps me to deal with something that I didn't even know it would come from that person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no clue.
A lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the person saying it has no idea what they just said to you. They'll say something that's totally arbitrary to them, and because you're kind of questioning something, you'll be like, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it came from you. I don't even know who you are. Like that that happens all the time. Yeah. So what about the reverse? When you're talking, do you feel you're articulate and purposeful with your words and that you're getting your point across?
With me, sometimes when I'm talking, I kind of lose my train of thought depending on, like, if anybody else is talking, but, like, sometimes I, like, I'm not as serious as I should be, so I just kind of lose my train of thought, so.
Kind of like rabbit hole a little bit?
Yeah, or when I talk, I, like, I think of something else, so I start talking about that and then remember what I was actually going for, and then, but sometimes I try to I get my point across sometimes.
Remember how we were talking about synapses in music, like a few weeks ago, and how your brain wires itself up?
I think so, maybe.
So if you're talking about a subject, like, I don't know, let's say, like, this is the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Keep this in your mind. You're trying to talk about the pencil. So everything you say needs to point back in some way to the pencil. So if you start talking about a cell phone, you've diverged away.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough skill to master.
Mm.
I'm not there. I don't know about Juanita, but I'm really not even close.
And one thing that I noticed through some of our teamwork exercises and things like that, and I think Heather's working on with y'all right now about really focusing in on details. And even in your communication. And so, like, the goal of creating this manual, this water quality manual for your classroom, is for you also to practice getting it from here to here, but really detailed, that if someone didn't know how to do a chemical water test, they're going to know exactly how to do it. And so, for example, when we did Minefield on communication and how it had to be exact communication to get your friend from one side to the other, you know, like, instead of it just helps me, even watching you guys, to think of how to be more exact and precise in communication. So people can understand what you're trying to say. And so I have to practice it too, and sometimes my mind goes too fast and gets ahead of myself. So then I can't stay, just like Heather was saying, right here, because I'm here. So we'll keep practicing those skills.
Yeah, it takes a while. So since you like group activities so much, do you feel you're supportive of your classmates when you're in group activities?
Sometimes not as much as I should be, because I, like, when we're doing, like, a group activity, sometimes I get playful when I'm, like, serious about it. I don't like when other people get playful because I want to be more focused on it.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes.
Generally, just like, how well do you just work with others? Just like overall, do you feel?
Pretty good. Sometimes it depends on, like, who that person is, and if I've had more history with that person.
Like what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Then sometimes it's harder to like, focus more, like, be more involved if I've already had history with that person. But I feel I work good with other people.
It sounds like to me, though, that a good something that could help you grow and push your comfort zone would be for you to be challenged to work with other people in the class, to maybe create more of a relationship and get through that uncomfortableness and maybe get to know some other people in your class a bit better.
Yeah.
Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll probably kind of, like, keep Bailey live and you sort of like in separate areas most of the time so that y'all can grow in that way.
Yeah.
And don't crutch on each other so much.
It may really help the dynamic of your class too. It could be pretty interesting to see what one little change like that could do for the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all individuals in that classroom, but it takes all of us to create the best experience that we can. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really interesting to kind of set goals and think of them in your mind of what you could do differently to grow and be willing to do that and just see the difference in 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's true.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I like working with my class. Like, I like working with all of them. I've pretty much worked with most of them for like Spanish class.
Right.
And it's cool to see like how different people work as like together. Like I work a lot better with like the guys more than I do with the girls because I feel like I'm more like, I don't know, I feel like working with like Logan or whoever helps my brain a bit more to like adapt in that way.
So you can adapt because they don't think the same way you do, and so now you get to approach the problem from different ways?
Yeah.
So other than pairing you up with different people, are there other things that we could do to make it enriching for you here?
I don't know. The only thing I feel is just like maybe doing more like group, like not group activities, but like doing more things as like a class and having like hands-on. And even though we do a lot of hands-on stuff, like doing more stuff outside, like stuff like that would help my brain work a lot better.
Just like lean into that a little bit more then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. So this one's to like just ease out of the interview. So why'd you come to the school? Why do you, or why were you sent to this school? I don't know if you chose it, but.
Well, my old school, public school, I was bullied a lot, and I never had really good friends there, and I was just kind of sucked into a lot of drama and couldn't get out of it. So me and my mom was trying to get me here for like a long time, and I was just like, no way, I don't. No, it's probably like they probably make you wear uniforms. It's all weird.
Quite the opposite, but yeah.
But I was bullied with like my teachers were like really mean to me all the time, and my principal was really rude, and I got yelled at a lot because I got my science teacher yelled at me because I got sick. So, and they called had me go to special classes because they thought that I was had mental disorders, but I was just they would just make fun of me a lot because I didn't learn the way everyone else did. So my mom was trying to get me to this school. I was like, no way, just no. And then I heard Bailey was here, but me and Bailey were mad at each other at the time. We just didn't like each other. We hated each other. Then I came here, and it was a lot better.
And now y'all are best friends.
Yeah.
That's
when you describe your learning differences, I just have one question from that. Would you, and this is what I heard in your interview, that you are a better visual learner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you said the videos helped you a lot in your civics class, so you're more visual and hands-on.
Yeah.
Than auditory listening and
I forgot what the other one is.
Writing.
Yeah. When I write, I usually just my brain completely shuts down because like when I'm writing another sentence, I think about the other sentence and I start writing the other sentence before I finish it.
So your mind gets ahead of you.
Yeah.
Like kind of like we were talking about with this.
Yeah.
So something that may help with that, what do you think is something that could help with that in your writing so you don't feel that will help you with your struggle with writing?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how like to fix that because it's more of like a thought thing because there's a ton of things going in my brain at once and I can't really focus on just one thing.
It's actually a good thing. It means that you're just high processing. So a suggestion then, it's easier when you type to do this because otherwise you can't like move words around when you put them down on a page without an eraser. But so like the prompt this morning, don't start writing in full sentences. Write down the main points. So if we were talking about like, if I was like, hey, there's things in the room. Okay, you'd write down key, cell phone, pencil, laptop, right? Okay, then you're going to write down something about the key, something about the cell phone, something about the pencil, something about the laptop. It'll help you focus and organize your thoughts because if you just try and write in chronological order, you're, you know how YouTube videos buffer? There's like that gray line in front of where you actually are.
No.
You ever watch YouTube videos?
Something.
Nobody has slow enough internet to even get this metaphor anymore. But you know the red bar is like how far you've come in the video as it goes across the bottom?
Yeah.
There's a gray bar that stays in front of it. And that's basically the computer downloading all the information so that the red bar can just keep flowing evenly. Your brain's trying to do the same thing. Your brain's being like, I don't want to catch up. Because if that red bar ever catches up to the gray bar on YouTube, it has to buffer and take time to, the video stops, right? So your brain's trying to keep itself from doing that. So use what it's throwing at you and just write it down. But you're going to just like blast thoughts at first. So then organize those thoughts first and then try and write sentences. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Try that, see if it works.
And I did notice too on your final project for river studies, you wrote out a paragraph and then you looked at it and I don't know what your thought process was, but you decided to redo it. And on the second one, it was really, really well written. So I don't know if you needed to just kind of get out your first knowledge of it and then you rewrote it, but the second one was just like much, much better. So I don't know exactly what you did there or what that was, but it worked.
Sounds like a rough draft. You made a rough draft and then you made a final copy, which is awesome. People do that all the time.
I think it's my way of just like, this is kind of my main idea, but I didn't like how I worded it or something, and my brain just changed, so I just changed my page for what I was doing.
I think Heather's exactly right though, like creating a rough draft and then reading over that and going, I want to add this or take this out, and so you did a really good job on that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Do you have any questions or anything for us?
No.
Cool. I guess that's it for me.
I think that's it for me too.
You want to send Clyde up when you go down?
Yeah, sure.
Do you know what my laptop bag looks like?
No.
It's the teal one that's got the mandala on the front. It's like that little